Good morning, children. Today I will explain you the story Twelfth Night from the book Stories from Shakespeare. Starting from the first part of the story, the Duke's Page. Sebastian and his sister Viola. Sebastian is a young gentleman and Viola is the lady of Messalin. These brothers and sisters were twins, and from the very birth they resembled each other so much that people could differentiate them only by their dress. They were both born in 1 hour, and in 1 hour they were both in the danger of death also. How? For on the coast of Illyria their ship was destroyed, and both the brothers and sisters were on a sea journey together. The ship on which they were, it had hit a rock in a great storm, and the ship had broken, and a very small number of the ship's passengers escaped with their lives. The captain of the ship and a few sailors who were saved, they got to land in a small boat, and they brought Viola with them safely on the shore. But poor Lady Viola, she was not happy at her own safety, but she began to cry because she had lost her brother. The captain of the ship tried to console her by telling her that he had seen her brother when the ship was breaking. Her brother was tying himself to a strong pole, and as long as the captain could see him from the distance, he saw Viola's brother above the waves, fighting with the waves. Viola was comforted by the hope after hearing to this description, and she now considered how she was going to live in a strange country so far from her home, and she asked the captain of the ship if he knew anything about the island Illyria on which they had landed. The captain replied that yes, he was born in a place which was 3 hours from Illyria. Then Viola asked who was governing that place. The captain told Illyria that Orsino, who was a noble duke, he had a good nature, and he was the ruler of Illyria. Then Viola said that she had heard her father speak of Orsino, and at that moment Orsino was a bachelor. He was not married. The captain said that still he is a bachelor, and recently, around a month ago, when the captain had left this place, it was a general talk in Illyria that Orsino the Duke, he was in love with beautiful Olivia. This Olivia was a good maid, and she was the daughter of a count. Children, count is a position. It is a position in the kingdom. and Olivia's father had died 12 months ago, and he had left Olivia to take care of her brother. And after a while, Olivia lost her brother too, and she loved her brother so much that she kept herself aloof. She kept herself hidden from the sight and the company of men. Viola also, she was also very sorrowful because she had lost her brother in the sea voyage, and she wished that she could live with Lady Olivia, who was also mourning, crying over a brother's death. So she asked the captain if he could take Viola to Olivia, and Viola said she was ready to serve the lady. But the captain replied that it was a very hard thing to do. Why? Because Olivia would not allow any person into her house after her brother's death, not even the Duke Orsino. Then Viola made another plan in her mind, and she decided that she would dress herself up in a man's dress, and she will serve the Duke Orsino as a page, as a servant. This was a strange imagination, a strange idea for the young lady Olivia, not Olivia children, for the young lady Viola to put on man's clothes and become a boy. But as she was all alone and she was beautiful and young, so she thought this was the best way she could keep herself safe. Now, she had noticed, Viola had seen, that the captain of the ship had a friendly care and wanted her welfare. So she trusted the captain with her plan, told him that she wanted to serve Orsino the Duke in the dress of a man. The captain promised to help her. Viola gave some money to the captain and told him to buy her clothes of the same color and in the same shape as her brother Sebastian, who was lost in the voyage, would used to wear. And when she got dressed up in the garments of a man, she looked like her brother, and because of that we will see that many people mistook her for her brother. Now, the captain, who was a good friend of Viola, when he had turned her into a gentleman, he had some powers at the court of Orsino, and he went and presented Viola before Orsino in the name of Cesario. The Duke was very pleased not only with the appearance but also with the way of talking of this handsome youth, and he made Cesario is actually Viola. He made him one of his servants, just as Viola had wished, and she so well did her duties of her new post, and she showed such a ready obedience and a faithful love towards her lord that Orsino soon made Cesario his favorable servant. And to Cesario, Orsino told the whole history of his love, how much he loved Lady Olivia, and Olivia rejected his services and hated him as a person and did not even allow him to enter her house. And this lady, Olivia, who had so unkindly treated the noble Duke Orsino, for her, Orsino had left the sports field and all the manly exercises in which he used to take delight, and now he passed his time in laziness. He listened to soft music, he listened to passionate love songs, and he neglected the company of his wise and noble lords, with whom he earlier used to spend his time. But now, after the coming of Cesario, he spent his time whole day long talking with young Cesario. Now, it is a very dangerous thing when young and beautiful girls become friends of handsome young duke. This problem was faced by Viola too, and she knew that Orsino was suffering for the love of Olivia. And what happened? Viola was seeing that she has also started developing interest in Orsino. And much to her surprise, Olivia could be so careless of this lord and master, whom Viola thought that he was a person who had deep admiration. So one day she said gently to Orsino that it was a pity for him that he was trying to seek the love of a lady who was blind to his true value, and she added, "If a lady were to love you, my lord, as you love Olivia, if you could not love her in return, would you not tell her that you could not love, and must not she be satisfied with this answer?" Means she wants to say that when Olivia doesn't want to love you in return, be satisfied and get away from her. But Orsino would not listen to this reasoning of Viola, for he said that it was impossible for any woman to love as he loved Olivia. He said that no woman's heart was as big to hold as much love, and so it was unfair to put the love of any lady for him, because he could only love Olivia. Now, Viola respected the Duke's opinions, yet she could not help thinking that this was not quite true, for she thought her heart had quite as much love for Orsino, and she said, "Ah, but I know, my lord." "What do you know, Cesario?" Orsino asked her. "Too well I know," replied Viola, "what love women may have for men. Women are also as true of heart as we are." She is saying we because she is Cesario in front of Orsino. Then she says, "My father had a daughter. She loved a man. And perhaps if I were a woman, I should love your lordship." And then Orsino is asking, what is the history of your father, who had a daughter? An empty page, my lord, for Viola said that my father's daughter never told her love. She never let her secret out. It was like a worm in the bud which was feeding on her rosy cheek. She grew sick thinking about the boy, and with green and yellow sadness she was full of sorrow, and she sat like Patience in a picture, smiling at grief. Means she was patiently accepting her sorrow. While Cesario and Orsino were talking, a gentleman entered, whom the Duke Orsino had sent to Olivia, and he reported, "If it pleases to listen, my lord, I might not come into the presence of the lady." Means Olivia did not allow me to enter, but by her maid she gave you this answer, that till 7 years from now the sky shall not see my face, but like a nun I will walk covering my face with a veil, and I will wet my room with my tears in the sad remembrance of my dead brother. On hearing this, the Duke said, "Oh, she that has a heart like this, she can return the debt of love of a brother, and how much she will love me, if only the golden arrow of love touches her heart." And then Orsino tells Viola, "You know, Cesario, I have told you all the secrets of my heart. Therefore, good man, will you go to Olivia's house? Make them let you in. You see that you meet her. You stand at her doors and tell her, and you fix your foot till you speak to her." Then Viola asks, "Fine, I'll speak to her. After that?" Orsino says, "You tell her how much I love her, and tell her a long history of my faith in her. It will be proper for you to act my grief, to show how sorrowful I am, for she will listen more to you than to one of serious looks." So Viola goes away, though she is not willing, for she was going to tell a lady to become the wife of a man whom she is wishing to marry. But she was a faithful girl, and Olivia soon heard that a young boy had come to her door asking to enter. Olivia tells her servant not to allow him, and the servant says that I told that you were sick, and the man is telling he knew that you were sick, and so he wants to speak to you. Then I told him you were asleep, and the man said, I know that too. Now what am I going to tell him, lady? For he is a very strong person, refusing to listen to anything, and he says he will speak to you whether you reply or not. Now Olivia was curious to see who this messenger was, and so she said, okay, allow him to come in. And she removed her veil from her face, and she said she would once more listen to the messages sent by the Duke Orsino. Viola is now behaving like a man, and she is trying to speak in the language of the royal court. And she said to the lady with the veil, "Most shining, splendid, unparalleled beauty, can you please tell me if you are the lady of the house? Because I don't want to speak in front of anyone else. For whatever I want to say has been written very nicely, and I have taken great pains to by heart it." Olivia asked, "Where are you coming from, sir?" "I can say little more than I have studied," replied Viola. She says, "Listen, I only can tell you what I have learnt, and that question I have not learnt." Olivia says, "Are you an actor?" "No," Viola replied. "And yet I am not that what I am playing." Means she wants to say that I am not really a man. I am playing the role of a man. And again she asked Olivia that, "Are you the lady of the house?" Olivia said, yes, she was. And then Viola, having more curiosity to see her face than haste to deliver her master message, she says, "Madam, may I see your face?" Olivia did not want to do so because she was proud of her beauty. And though the Duke Orsino loved her so much, Olivia fell in love with Viola because she thinks he is a man, Cesario. So Viola asked to see her face. Then Olivia said, "Have your master commanded you to do anything with my face?" And then Olivia herself forgot that she had decided to keep herself covered, veiled for 7 long years, and she slowly moved her veil and said that, "Yes, I am removing my veil and showing you myself. Is it not well done? Am I not beautiful?" Viola replied, "It is true beauty. The red and white upon your cheeks seems to be put up by nature itself. And you are a very cruel lady because you are leading these beauties to the grave, and you are not allowing the world to see you." "Oh, sir," says Olivia, "I will not be so cruel. The world can have a list of my beauty. I have 2 red lips. I have 2 grey eyes with eyelids. I have 1 neck, 1 chin, and so forth. Were you sent by your master to praise me?" Viola replied, "I see what you are. You are too proud. Yes, you are beautiful. My Lord Orsino loves you, and his love cannot be overpaid. Although you were crowned the Queen of Beauty, although you are very beautiful, and Orsino loves you with worship and with tears, with pains, with thunder, and like he sighs, he burns in your love like fire." Olivia says, your Lord knows my mind very well. I cannot love him. Yet I doubt not. He is a nice man. I know him. He is noble. He has a high estate. He is fresh and a very good young man. All men even say that he is learned, courteous, and brave. Yet I cannot love him. He might have taken my response long ago. Then Viola says, "If I did love you as my master does, I would make myself a green hut at your gates and call your name. I would write poems on you and sing them during the night. Your name should sound in the hills, and it would echo because of reverberations in the air. I would cry out, Olivia. I would not allow you to rest between earth and air, and then you would pity me and start loving me. Olivia says, you might do that. What is your birth? Viola says, yes, I have good luck. I am a gentleman. Olivia now unwillingly sent Viola away, and she says, go to your master and tell him that I cannot love him. And please tell him not to send you any more, unless perhaps you come again to tell me how he has taken my response. No one else but you can come. So Viola goes away, bidding farewell to the lady and giving her the name of Fair Cruelty. When she was gone, Olivia is repeating her words, that above my luck, yet my state is well, I am a gentleman. And Olivia speaks aloud, that I promise he is a gentleman. His face, his limbs, his action, his spirit, everything shows that he is a gentleman. And then she wished Cesario was the duke, and seeing the fast hold, the love that was developing within her for Cesario, she started blaming herself. And presently the noble lady Olivia, she forgot the difference between her fortunes. She was a noble lady, and for her Cesario was only a servant. And she decided to continue loving Cesario. She even sent a servant after him with a diamond ring, saying that he had left it with her as a present from Orsino. She hoped that if she made Cesario a present of the ring, she would give him some knowledge that she was developing love towards him. And truly, it made Viola think so, for knowing that Orsino had not sent any ring for her, she began to remember Olivia's looks and manners, how Olivia was admiring Viola, and then she guessed that Olivia, thinking Viola to be a man, had fallen in love with her. And then Viola is thinking, oh, my dress is wicked because I am dressed in a man's costume and she has mistaken me to be a man. Viola returns to the Duke's palace, and she told her lord that though she talked to him, she is straightforward, and Olivia had said that she cannot love Orsino, so he should not trouble her any more. Yet still the Duke went on hoping that the gentle Cesario would slowly with time persuade Olivia to show some pity, and therefore he tells Viola to again go to Olivia the next day.